I didn't know that failure was part of the experience. So in this country, we don't promote, we don't celebrate people who fail. We just celebrate people who succeed, and we never tell them about all the failures that happen.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where they die. This is where we come to win, we come to fly. This is where we make our dreams come to life. Welcome to Innovation City.
Welcome to Innovation City, a podcast featuring the innovators, creators, and disruptors who are fueling innovation in emerging markets across our country. Today, I'm with my co-host, Leanne Buchanan.
Hey, everybody.
And we're really excited because we have with us Mr. Derrick Miles. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm encouraged to be here.
So, Derrick, this was a conversation that happened in a whirlwind. We jumped on the phone. Was it this week?
It was this week.
We jumped on the phone this week, and I said, can you be here at X time? And you got on a plane and flew down here.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your commitment to this conversation.
I like to be around people who are influencers, so it was an easy decision to make.
I love it. So, Derrick, why don't we start off and just explain to us what your superpower is?
Yeah, great question. My superpower is encouraging others. My story is that I achieved a great deal of success in my career, corporate career, very early. Multiple homes, $100,000 cars or whatever, but I was truly empty on the inside. And when I turned about 37, 38, I decided to leave corporate America and become an entrepreneur. And when I became an entrepreneur, that was the first time I actually started to experience failure. And I didn't know that failure was part of the experience, right? So in this country, we don't promote, we don't celebrate people who fail. We just celebrate people who succeed, and we never tell them about all the failures that happen, right? So one of my favorite stories is the cleaning product 409, right? Most people don't know that it failed 408 times, and on number 409, it succeeded. That's why it's called 409,
Wow,
right?
I did not know that.
So for me, when I was failing as an entrepreneur, I got to the point where I became very discouraged. I got so discouraged to the point where I decided I was going to take my life. And I remember like it was yesterday. It was a Tuesday. I said, I'm going to take my youngest son to school. I'm going to come back home. I'm going to blow my brains out because I saw myself losing all of those nice luxuries in my life. I saw them leaving, and that was what I was connected to. And so I dropped my son off. I go into the basement. We're living in North Carolina at that time. And I actually hid the gun in the basement so the boys wouldn't find it. So I started looking for the gun. I can't find the gun. And the phone starts to ring. And it's a friend from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He says, Derrick, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I just felt that you needed to be encouraged. And I was like, thank you. Phone rings again. Friend from St. Louis, Missouri. She says, Derrick, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I just felt in the spirit that you needed a word of encouragement. I like, thank you. Phone rings again.
Oh, wow.
A friend from Dallas, Texas, say, Derrick, I have no clue why I'm calling you, but just want to give you a word of encouragement. And at the end of those 3 phone calls, guess what? I was encouraged. I wasn't discouraged anymore, so I didn't have the need to blow my brains out. So I realized the power of a word of encouragement. A power of a word of encouragement can save your life because it saved my life. So when we think about CourMed, in the middle of the word CourMed is C-O-U-R. A lot of people think when they see CourMed is for like career med. It's not. It's for encouragement. We encourage people on a daily basis. And that's the foundation of who we are. Yes, we provide a cutting edge experience, and now we have, I would say, pivot into becoming a healthcare solutions company. But every SMS text message that a driver makes a delivery is a message that says be encouraged. Every time we pay a particular driver, every Tuesday through Zelle, there's a message at the bottom that says be encouraged. When someone receives a package from us, even though it has their address on it, at the bottom of that sticker has a message to be encouraged. Because what we understand is that Americans, you can put all these messages on Facebook and LinkedIn like your life is on 100. It's really not. There's areas where you need to be encouraged. And let's be honest. So if you're taking prescription medication, that's the last step before you're going to be hospitalized, right? That's the stopgap. So there's area that you need to be encouraged. So we try to keep those and put those messages out there. So from the lowest point in my life where I was really discouraged has become an area where it has become my superpower to encourage others.
Excellent. Wow, that is so deep. Derrick, I want to understand what inspired you, or like where did you first get exposed to entrepreneurship? Because you were on a completely different track.
I was.
You were, healthcare executive, like you were definitely on a different track. And to make such a stark departure, like what first exposed you and ignited that fire of entrepreneurship in you?
It was a conversation. I had a feeling while I was in corporate America that it was something else for me to do, and I was afraid to act on it. And I remember one day one of the physicians came to me in the hallway and he says, there's a guy named Joel Wiggins. He's an entrepreneur. I want you to meet him. So we exchanged phone numbers and we finally got connected. He called me. I'm in my corner office, right? With my 6-figure salary, think I'm kicking butt, but I really wasn't. Within 20 seconds into the conversation, when we exchanged pleasantries, he says to me, "You're not going to be there much longer. There's something else for you to do." And I realized that he was right. So what that did for me was it ignited and gave me the courage to leave a wonderful, from a financial perspective and luxury lifestyle, to become an entrepreneur where it wasn't so luxury, right? So anyone who runs a startup, they can put all those niceties on LinkedIn all they want to. Running a startup is hard work. And it took a conversation from someone else to ignite or to give me the courage to come out of that area. And another thing I want to add to that is that not only was he an entrepreneur, I mean, he experienced a great deal of success himself. I think he became a millionaire at the age of 31. But he had a friend named Sheldon Winston, guy a little bit older. He had also saw something in me, and those two guys have become my best friends. They're entrepreneurs, and they really took me under their wing from being a corporate executive and supported me with their time, talent, and treasure. They just saw something in me, and they say, "Hey, we're here to support you." So I'll tell you how deep the support goes, though, right? So as a former healthcare executive, I never applied for a job. They have what you call executive recruiters. So executive recruiter would call you, and because I had such a history of performing well and turning healthcare organizations around, I would always get a call. So one day I get a call from a recruiter, and he says, "Derrick, I'm going to make you an opportunity that you can't refuse." And I said, "What is it?" He says, "I want to give you an opportunity to go build hospitals in Africa." I'm like, whoa. That is something that I'm very interested in. So Joel, Sheldon, we were all living in Raleigh, North Carolina at the time, and I said, "Hey guys, I think I'm going to go take this opportunity because it's going to give me an opportunity to make an impact around the world. And it's going to require me to move to Dallas, Texas." And without hesitation, they decided to move their families to Dallas, Texas. That's what I call a friend. Yeah.
Wow. And it speaks to the value of mentorship.
Right.
What type of support specifically does an entrepreneur need?
A lot of mental support as an entrepreneur. I was thinking about that when I was riding up the elevator. I spend a lot of time alone. I'm a thinker, and but from a mental capacity, there's times where you make the right decision. There's other times where the decisions are not the right decision, and you beat yourself up. And I spend a great deal of time with Joel. So Joel has a superpower of encouraging executives. That is just something that he does well. He has a practice, and there's executives all over the country that compensate him to do what he does. So that mental support is what I need more than anything else as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
What's your greatest challenge right now with CourMed?
It has been the fact that we have received so many accolades at CourMed as far as investments from really big companies, right? I mean, there's only 4 companies with $1 trillion market cap. 3 of them have invested in CourMed, or we're in the process of doing pilots with them. But for some reason, we have struggled to raise funds. I think that's changing. So yesterday we got a call from Microsoft that they're releasing their 6-figure investment into CourMed, and also got wind that their CEO is going to make an announcement in June about CourMed receiving that. I think that's going to give us more credibility so that we can go out and scale our platform. More than anything, I think that's been it. I mean, we've been able to grow the platform, but for some reason it's been a little more difficult and challenging to raise the money to scale it.
And just in your description of it, would it be similar to an Express Scripts, or like what's the differentiation?
Yeah, so we would not be anywhere close to Express Scripts. We have a very unique platform, right? So when most people think of delivery, we did start out as a delivery company, crowdsourced delivery. Think Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, Postmates. We have enterprise software that does something very similar, right? But but we don't deliver people. We don't deliver food. It's all healthcare products. Primarily today is prescriptions, but we do high-end vitamins, supplements, PPE, immunonutrition drinks. What we're really excited about, we just started doing the COVID-19 vaccines in the comfort of your home. Monoclonal antibodies. Most people back several months ago, before President Trump was in the hospital with COVID-19, he got a monoclonal antibody. So today, about 30 to 40,000 Americans get COVID every day. A monoclonal antibody infusion therapy will stop the progression of COVID-19, so you don't have to go into the hospital, right? So what makes us unique is, when people say, who are your competitors? Straight up, we don't have any. But if you just look at prescription by itself, there's a bunch of people in that space now, right? Script Drop, NowRx, NimbleRx, they do prescriptions only. We deliver all type of healthcare products. In addition to that, we also have an enterprise software platform. So me being a former hospital administrator, I know where a lot of the bones are buried. And one of the areas that hospitals have traditionally struggled is what you call patient satisfaction. Mm-hmm. So we built our platform from day one to enhance the experience, that last mile delivery that would improve patient satisfaction for hospitals. When you go into a CVS, Walgreens, or a community pharmacy, the most amount of pharmacists you're going to see is maybe 1 or 2. You go to a hospital, you got 40, 50, 100 pharmacists, much larger opportunity. The only thing about hospitals is they're slower to innovate. So what we're really excited about now, we already have our first large healthcare organization that signed up, and we're able to provide a concierge delivery for those discharged patients and patients who go through telehealth. And the true benefit now is, instead of just being a delivery company, we actually can add revenue to our customers. Mm-hmm. So you have delivery companies who sit at the bottom of an income statement as an expense only, where CourMed is at the top too, is generating revenue. Yeah. So that what makes us, so we have really morphed from just being a healthcare delivery company to being a healthcare solutions company with a delivery vertical.
And this seems like the right time, like post-COVID,
right?
If we could say that,
right?
Telemedicine, I think it's here to stay.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about it the other day. I work out a lot. I'm older, right? So I have to work out just to maintain my weight, and it's always been a problem for me. I sweat so much, and then my ear would get a lot of wax in it. And I was thinking about, man, I should go to the emergency care clinic to get this taken care of. And I'm like, wait a minute, somebody will come to my house and do this. What a much better experience for someone to come and fix it at my house instead of me going and sitting into this emergency care clinic. So that's what I did. And realizing that concierge delivery for people is the future. We knew it anyway, but COVID-19 just really helped to move it along a lot faster. So from an innovation standpoint, healthcare has been slow to innovate, but COVID-19 has really accelerated it, and we were perfectly situated to take advantage of it.
Now I want to understand, where did the idea for CourMed come from? Like, what first was the aha moment that said, okay, this is what I need to do?
Yeah, so when I left corporate America, I had got in contact with a friend of mine, and he knew that I had a bunch of relationships in healthcare. He had a courier company. And he says, Derrick, I want your help to get more business in hospitals. So had a good friend of mine. His name is Greg Campbell, Harvard MBA guy. He was a mentor back in DFW. We decided to meet with him at the DFW airport. So we sit down and try to understand what his issues are. And immediately he began to complain about his company. He says, I have all these drivers who I really can't rely on. And DFW it costs you money to drive. He said, I got to pay for tolls. I'm paying for repairs on the vehicles. And I just thought for a second, have you ever thought about Uberizing it? And he says, Derrick, I'm 70 years old. If you want to take a shot at it, go ahead. And I said, okay. So the next day I called my buddy. He worked for a company called Vizient, which is the nation's largest healthcare group purchasing organization. I said, let's set up a meeting. I think I got an idea to transform healthcare. And within an hour and a half, he said, Derrick, go do it. We got your back. I think Vizient does over $100 billion in revenue, has no assets. They're just middlemen. And that's where the idea came from. And then I had a mentor of mine many years ago who sat me down when I was struggling, right? He says, Derrick, I know why you're not successful. He says, you don't have a board. So the first thing I thought of was creating a board. And when he said, you want to get people on your board who have resources, so because in a startup, you're going to have ups and downs. And when you get people on your board with resources, they put money into the business. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I got in contact with 4 of my wealthy friends who were current healthcare executives, retired healthcare executives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we decided that we would start CourMed. We put our money in. And whenever there was a downturn for CourMed, those board members put the money in to keep us alive. Yeah.
One of the themes that I'm hearing from our conversation is just so much about the power of relationships, about the social capital. It seems to have really made a difference in your life. Talk to us for a minute about what you've learned about cultivating deep, meaningful, and intimate relationships in a professional setting.
When it all boils down to it, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships, especially when it comes from a sales perspective. People do business with who they know, like, and trust. So one of the things that helped me is I did get an opportunity to go to the top program in health administration, 20-something years ago. So all of my classmates are CEOs and COOs, and I know how to sell to a hospital administrator, right? I know what their triggers are, so I can go in pretty quickly. One, I already have the relationship. I have credibility. I've been there. I know what their pain points are. And then I give them a solution to improve their bottom line and as well the patient experience. And that means so much. And I continue to develop relationships. And it just amazes me. So I get a call last night from a guy. His boss is one of the original gentlemen who started Rite Aid. And he's become a mentor to me. And he says, Derrick, I don't know why. His name is Dr. Dalton. He says, I don't know why, but Dr. Dalton likes you. So we're going to put you into this potential opportunity. And I've always had that experience. Even when I was a little kid, there was this guy named Mr. Dale. I was just in elementary school. And he was a Jewish guy. And he would come to the school and mentor me. I was always good at math, right? So one of the teachers came up to me one day and she says, Derrick, Mr. Dale is, here to help the students, but he's really here for you. Like, okay. And then when I became an executive, the top African-American hospital administrator, I got a chance to intern with him. I was like 25, right? The first day I go into his office, he says, I'm going to work for you one day. I'm like, really? 4 years ago, they call this guy the $800 million man back in Dallas, Texas. His name is Neelan Youngblood. It's just been so phenomenal in my relationship. And as soon as I sit down, he says, why are you sitting on that side of the couch? He said, you belong on this side of the couch. So all my life, people have seen something in me that I may have not even seen in myself, but it gave me courage to continue to go and push and innovate and improve the lives of others.
It's that time.
Ooh, yes.
Lightning round.
Okay.
You first.
Me first? If money was not an issue, how would you spend your time?
Thinking. Yeah, that's in addition to encouraging others, I really like to spend time thinking. I just mentioned before that people have when they meet me, they like me. I think there's a attraction to mind. People who are like-minded connect. So I believe that's what it is.
What challenge do you want to overcome?
Like most parents with a teenager, I don't know if you have a teenager, man, things change when they get to that age.
Don't tell me that.
Huh? Oh, it's just such a struggle. And as I think about it, my kids, my friends' kids have it so well, but I just can't understand the mindset when they turn 13. It just seems like they just forget everything and they just want to have this lazy spirit. I don't know where it comes from. That is a challenge for me. So that's the area where I need to be encouraged. Yeah. As a teenage
I've got
parent,
an 11-year-old. And
it's coming.
She's
it's getting worse. I heard girls are worse than boys.
They're not that bad.
What makes you feel loved?
My friends, my family. My family, even though I'm the only one that lives outside of the state of Florida right now, but I do have good news. I am looking for an apartment here in Greater Miami, but all of my family lives in Florida. So I have an identical twin brother that we talk almost every day. My mother and my father live in Clearwater, Florida, and they know what it's like for me to be an entrepreneur. And when it came to times when it got really tough, they didn't give me Jeff Bezos money, right? What Jeff Bezos got for Amazon, but my parents did put money into CourMed to keep it alive. Days. So that's where I feel love with my family and my friends.
Where have you found peace?
I would say the opportunity to be an entrepreneur and work from home. So here's what I realized. When I was working in corporate America, I never had the opportunity to spend time with my boys. I realized that my boys are an extension. I have two boys. They're going to be an extension to who I am. And when I was in corporate America, they couldn't see me in a board meeting, speaking and having conversations about improving outcomes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Going to fundraisers, it was something they couldn't do. They couldn't work in the company. But me being home and being available for them, when we first started the company, guess what? They were doing deliveries. Had my son doing, social media. And that has given me the ability to prepare them to take over a company one day and lead it. And more than anything, I'm really excited about that opportunity.
What does this world need more of?
I said it before, encouragement. People need to be encouraged. I realize that it's my role. I was born, I believe everyone comes on this earth because there's an issue to be solved. And what makes me, make my superpower so strong is that I'm at a point where I understand my purpose, and my purpose is to encourage others. So you'll notice the more time you speak with me, they say, Derrick, how you doing? I'm encouraged. And I'm noticing more and more people who, as they spend time with me, when I say, how you doing? Their response is, I'm encouraged. And I understand that my time is limited. I believe I have less time on earth than I'm almost 50 years old, right? So when it's time for me to pass away, at my funeral, there'll be thousands of people that realize that they've been encouraged in life. Yeah.
Well, Derrick, thank you so much for such a thoughtful and deep conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Tell us how people can get in touch with CourMed, with you, whether it be social media, website.
Yeah, so the best way to get in contact with me is probably on LinkedIn. I spend more time there than any other place. I have a personal webpage. We have a CourMed webpage there. And from an email perspective, it's admin@courmed.com, COURMED.com. And again, COUR is for the middle of encouragement.
I love it.
Derrick, thank you. This was fun.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Innovation City. If you like this episode, you can find more episodes at innovationcity.co or anywhere where you watch or listen to podcasts. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and we'll see you next week.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where they die. This is where we come to win, we come to fly. This is where we make our dreams